Hello everyone, welcome to another doll customizing video with me, Akin. Per usual, shout out to my coffee members. Roger, Sinbilops, Ruby Rouge, Warren G, Mel, Awkward Burb, Invisible Bear, Mel again, Hanu made this, Star with the emoji, and Jasmine. Thank you so much for your support and being the reason why this channel is still running. I'm really thankful for that. If you want to see what I'm working on before the video is out and help keeping this channel afloat, consider becoming a coffee member. Link is in the description down below. So, quite a few people want to see a buff muscular girl doll on this channel. Ask and you shall receive, even though you have to wait a couple years for it. Without further ado, let's begin the customization. I bought a desk mat so my working surface can be a clean slate. Kinda. For the base, I'll be using DC Superhero Girl's Bumblebee. I think this doll line is the best base you can have if you want to make a buff girl character. I bought this second hand for $5 a while ago, so I only have one of her, and if I mess this up, then I'm screwed. Also, this doll is like really tall. Taller than a Monster High boy, but hey, variety. Let's put the head in hot water. I put it in a plastic sleeve so the hair won't get wet. I leave it there for about 30 seconds before removing the head from the body. I'm not gonna use the original head because I think it looks default. DC Superhero Girls dolls all have the same face sculpt, right? I mean, it's decent, but I want something more distinctive. So I'm gonna use Monster High Abby Abominable head instead. I think Abby is a good choice for a black character because look at those luscious lips. Yes. Also, her strong jawline suits the tough character that she's gonna be. Anyway, let's cut her hair. I put the head in hot water and discard the remaining stubbles. There is no glue inside the head at all. That's suspicious. And the head is really soft and squishy. Ugh, that's not good. But let's keep going. What's the worst that can happen? Remove the factory paint with pure acetone and some cotton pads. Let's try attaching the head to the body. The neck peg is fully inserted, but as you can see, the mouth of the neck hole is stretched way too much and it just sits on top of the neck instead of wrapping around it. The head can barely move. So we gotta do some adjustments to make the head fully compatible. I feel pretty confident about this hybrid because I've seen it done before by Muñequita Cat. Anyway, let's remove the head. Again. The part line of the hair looks pretty fragile, so I'm gonna sew it up to reinforce it. I think this head is a defect because first, the lack of glue, and the back hairline doesn't have holes in them, so I have to make them myself. And yes, I'm gonna reroute. Now we can start the body modification. First thing I'm gonna tackle is to fix the head and neck compatibility. I covered the neck peg with masking tape so it won't accidentally get scratched, and with a rotary tool with a sanding bit attached, I start sanding around the top part of the neck to make it thinner. Then I continue with rough grit sandpaper to make the surface even. This is the before and after. The top part of the original neck is convex, so you need to make it flat and even as the rest of the neck to make this hybrid work properly. I reattach the head again. See, now the head can swivel and pivot like it should. I remove the head again and put it aside until we're done with the body. Now that the head and neck issue has been solved, I sand down the molded underwear. Then I sand down most of the body parts except the lower legs because I'm not gonna do anything to them. This is to roughen up the surface so epoxy will have a better grip sticking to the plastic. Not only I want to make her muscular, I also want her to be curvier. So here I'm widening the gaps around the hip joints with flush cutters. It looks like this. This will make it possible to widen the hips and thighs without decreasing the articulation because we made more room for the additions. Anyway, let's sand the edges. I mixed some epoxy already, and the first thing I'm gonna do is actually to enhance the breasts. I apologize for being mostly out of frame, years of doing this and I can't seem to position my camera correctly. God damn it. When you're adding more materials to jointed parts, do the moving parts first, like in this case the thighs. Once those parts cured, we can add more materials to the other parts, which in this case the hips to match the new thighs. Take your time because you have to keep moving the joints to make sure they work the way they're supposed to, while at the same time enclosing the gaps between the two parts. Now it looks less awkward, right? Then I add epoxy on the butt to better the overall proportion. We've made her curvier, now it's time to make her more muscular. But check out these hip joints first. Here I'm marking where and how the abs would look like. I apply a slab of epoxy on the front torso and carve out the abs with my sculpting tool. This isn't how I sculpt abs, but the surface is a lot smaller than what I'm used to, so this is just how I work around it. The abs look okay. Now we can sculpt the lower abdomen muscle and carve out the navel. Then we sculpt the oblique muscles. Be careful not to disturb the torso joint. The torso joint is neat, by the way, I like it. We're done sculpting the torso, let's move on to the arms. I start by making the deltoids bigger. Then the biceps. The triceps. I make the forearms bigger as well. And we're done sculpting on the body. Are we done sculpting? No. I want her to be a boxer, so she needs boxing gloves, but I want to keep her real hands, so I need another pair that's compatible. These Harry Potter hands are... If you're an OG viewer, you know whose body this was. Sorry for the continuity error here, I work on the gloves alongside the muscular parts. I wrap masking tape around the wrists so epoxy won't stick to them. I put the hands back on and apply epoxy around the wrists to make the closure straps. Then I sculpt the basic glove shapes right on the hands. After that's cured, I roughen up the surface with a rasp. I add the knuckle parts. Then the thumbs. I add more material to make the gloves rounder. And we're done sculpting the boxing gloves. What do you think? I think they look pretty cool and they look like actual boxing gloves. Sanding time. I start with a rough grit sandpaper to even out large bumps and make the transitions between the epoxy and the plastic as seamless as possible, even though it's kinda impossible. Then with a fine sanding sponge, I smoothen the surface. I do the same to the boxing gloves. With a carving knife, I carve out the creases on the gloves. And we're done with the body modification. It took me a week to get to this point. Anyway, let's rinse it to clean off the sanding dust. I already mixed some paint from when I work on Mike the Cyborg. It's a good starting point, I just have to readjust the mixture a little bit. It should be more yellowish. Now we can color match. Make sure the previous layer of paint has dried completely before applying another. Five layers of paint did the job. Now I'm gonna seal it with 2 coats of this matte varnish spray. You can see the difference, it's matte now. Here I'm blushing the body to really define the muscles and add more depth and dimension to the skin. Then I give the body another 2 coats of matte varnish to seal the blushing. And we're done with the body, we can put it aside for now. Moving on to the head, here I'm painting the hairline the skin color. Why? So I won't have to precisely paint it after the reroot. Well, that if the paint stays on, but it doesn't hurt to try. I also paint the scalp black because that's gonna be the hair color. Then I apply 3 layers of watered down matte varnish, the brush on version this time, to hopefully seal the paint so it won't get scratched off during the reroot. I think the last time I did a reroot was for Kadita. That was almost 4 years ago. Wow. I'm gonna use the same hair I gave that doll. Yes, it's in a roll instead of a hank. Yes, it's basically a very long strands of hair. No, I don't know what type of hair this is. I wanna say saran, but I can be wrong. We have to turn this hair into a hank first so we can use it. To do that, I tape the ends of the hair to this container lid like this and wrap the hair strand around it a bunch of times. Then we cut it and we have a hank of hair. With a needle cut at an angle attached to my hand drill handle, I grab the midpoint of a strand of hair, slip it between the prongs, and plug it into the hole. I start filling in the hairline first. It's a tedious task for sure, but I honestly think it's not that bad. After the hairline is fully plugged, I start plugging the rest of the hair. Rerooting looks like it takes a very long time to finish, and it can be, but I keep going at it and finish it in about 3 hours. So yeah, it takes a while, but not that long. For the hairstyle I want, a hair part is not needed, so there is none. Rerooting isn't for me because it's more expensive and the hairstyles I want to do don't really require me to do reroot. Well, except for this one, just in case you're wondering why I don't do reroots a lot on this channel. Anyway, some of the paint got scratched off, but it's not that bad, so painting the hairline beforehand was a good decision. Yay! To secure the hair, I put a copious amount of solvent-based glue into the neck hole. I spread it around with a Q-tip and squish the head until it rubs against each other, and I let it dry overnight. Then I boil wash the hair to make it easier for what I'm gonna do next. The hair is actually what I'm most excited about. Her becoming a muscular boxer lady is just something that came later. I want her to have that beautiful, curly, coily natural hair, an afro to be exact. That is the main reason why I'm making this character black. But how do we get such hairstyle from this? I watched a TikTok video that shows exactly how. I'll link it down in the description. After you boil wash the hair, it doesn't have to be completely dried. You can do this while it's still damp. Grab a section of hair and you twist it and twist it and twist it until it wraps around itself. In the TikTok video, they keep the hair section in place with a pin, but I can't seem to do that, so I use zip ties instead. Now we do that to the rest of the hair. It should look something like this. Looks crazy, I know, but this looks right. Pour boiling water into a bowl and dip the hair in there for a minute or so before setting it aside. Again, you don't have to wait until it's completely dry, just until it's damp. Then you're gonna wanna do it the second time, but this time, after you pull it out from the boiling water, you let the hair dry completely. Leave it at least overnight to be safe. Now we can cut the zip ties loose. Pull every hair section and trim the ends. Then separate those hair sections with a toothpick or anything, really. The hair should turn into these very nice curls. I love the texture. Then I brush the hair with a dull brush to get the maximum Then I brush the hair with a dull brush to get the maximum volume. I think the hair is too long. Let's give it a trim. Wait, am I committing cultural appropriation by doing this? If you think that's what I'm doing, could you please let it slide? This looks acceptable, I think. But I know you won't be able to get this with yarn wefts. Pro tip, always test it on a small amount first. Make sure this can be applied to the dull hair that you have. I wouldn't dare to do this if the hair ended up being fried or worse. I put an elastic around the head like this to pull the hair up, clearing the hairline. Let's put the head back onto the body. Actually, let's trim the neck peg. We don't need that extra material. There we go. Then we cover the hair with a lot of masking tapes. I covered the body in a plastic bag as well, and now we can color match the rest of the head. The brush strokes are kinda awful, but hopefully the MSU will even those out. But before we do that, I'm gonna paint the lips hot pink because I want them to really pop. Now we can spray the head with 3 initial layers of Mr. Super Clear UV Cut Flat, waiting 30 minutes in between sprays. Here I'm doing the initial blushing with soft pastels. Because she has a dark skin tone, I'm trying to sketch the eyes and lay down some colors with watercolor pencils early on. Emphasis on trying. I sprayed the face again with the sealant before blushing the face some more and still trying to color the eyes. On the same layer, I also mapped the eyebrows with black soft pastel. Another spray of MSC and I'm still trying to fill in the eye whites. With a magenta pencil, I outlined the lips to make it look like ombre lipstick. I mapped the irises on the eyes and I'm still attempting to color those parts. I gave the face another spray of MSC and with a dark brown watercolor pencil I defined the eye lines. We're on the 6th layer of MSC and the light colored pencils still barely do anything. They even start scratching the underneath layers. That is not good, especially on a painted head. Ugh, there is no other way, we have to bust out the acrylic paints. Wish me luck cause I'm not used to it. First, I fill in the eye whites. Then I'm shading them with some light gray paint. After that, I paint the irises dark brown. I go over them again with a lighter shade of brown, so basically the dark brown will become the outlines of the irises, if that makes sense. With a black watercolor pencil, I start drawing on the eyebrow hairs. I seal the face again, then I draw on the eyelines, eyelids, and eyelashes. Then I paint on the pupils. I also highlight the irises with orange apparently, I don't know why. Another layer of MSC and I darken the eyelines, eyelids, eyelashes, and eyebrows. With white acrylic paint, I dot on the eye shines. Now the face is ready for the less generous spray of Mr. Super Clear to keep everything in place. We're done with the face after 9 layers of MSC. Should have been less since the eyes were painted, not drawn, but anyway, for something I'm not used to, I think I did pretty good. Let's remove the hair cover. The hair lost its shape from being covered. Oh no. So I brush out the hair again. Then I apply hairspray to it and I pat it down trying to shape the hair. I think that worked. For the outfit, I'm gonna make it out of this yellow t-shirt fabric because yellow on dark skin tone is just gorgeous. God tier color combination in my opinion. The first thing I'm gonna make is a halter top. Here's the pattern. I split it into 2 because I wanna add a cutout right down the middle. For the cutout part, I'm gonna sew this strip of black tulle fishnet material so she can show a bit of cleavage. I'll be damned if all those body modifications I didn't get showcased. Then I glue down the seam allowance on the inside and do a top stitch. I cut notches around the armhole seam allowance before gluing them down and hemming them. I put paper underneath the fabric as a stabilizer while I sew. I do this during the majority of the sewing process because it's t-shirt material, kind of annoying to sew. Let's discard the paper. Then I sew a strip of the yellow fabric around the neckline to make the neckband. Then I finish the neckband by hemming/top stitching it. It should look something like this, and now we can sew the side seams together. Then I sew a bend to the bottom part the same way we did the neckband. Finish the opening tabs to finish the top. Moving on to the leggings, I have to sew the cutouts to finish the pattern. This is what they look like. Now we sew the front crotch together. It should look something like this. I also hemmed the leg holes already, and now we can sew the waistband. Sew the back seams together about halfway through. Then we sew the inner legs together. Turn them right side out and we're done with the leggings. I washed the clothes and attached the snaps, and here's what the outfit looks like. Part of the butt is peeking through, but it's in the back, so who cares? For the shoes, I'm gonna use these Supergirl shoes. I don't have a lot of shoe options for this doll. First, I slice off and sand down the logos. Then I give them 2 layers of white gesso. I do the same to the boxing gloves. I bet you forgot about them. Then I paint the boxing gloves and the shoes yellow. After 8 layers of paint, not including the gesso, they still look streaky. I don't get it. I don't know if it's the white gesso or the yellow paint. But I think it's the yellow paint because if you look at my palette here, it doesn't seem to have a good coverage. Anyway, let's paint on some more details. I think they look a lot better with the details painted. Now let's give the shoes and the gloves 3 layers of watered down matte varnish to seal the paint. And with that, we can call it a doll. I name her Lynette. So what do you think of her? Do you like her? Do you not like her? Let me know in the comments down below. Honestly, she began as a filler project. I didn't put a lot of thought into this project, but she exceeded my expectations so much she ended up being one of my favorites. She looks like a character on Street Fighter or something. I got to do things I don't usually do, like rerooting, styling the hair with boiling water, and doing the eyes with paint. Good things, all those panned out well, and I'm glad I saw it through. I had a blast working on her. This is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want to. And before I end this video, I just want to let you know that I have things that I have to take care of in my personal life, so I might not upload as consistent. I don't even think there's gonna be a video for March, so yeah, I apologize in advance and I hope you understand. Again, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye!